All right, thanks, Steve. Welcome, students. Glad you guys are here, and hope you enjoy it as well. There's one. As Steve said, excited that this week is our Curing Kids Cancer game. The Owen family they're great friends of our athletic department, great friends of the football program. This is a charity that was started by them after their son Killian died of leukemia when he was 9 years old. Founded in 2005, Curing Kids Cancer funds innovative research and treatments to find cures for all childhood cancers in our lifetime. They are celebrating their 20th anniversary, and they have raised more than $33 million for childhood cancer research. As you may know, cancer is the leading cause of death by disease for children in the U.S. It kills more children each year than asthma, AIDS, cystic fibrosis, diabetes, and muscular dystrophy combined. Their funding supports research that is saving children's lives. Honored to work with them this week and bring awareness to their organization. You can find out more by going to their website, curingkidscancer.org. And something that we're certainly passionate about. Emily, my wife, and I work closely with the Children's Hospital here in Columbia, and we'll continue to. And honored to know the Owen family and become closer with them over the last few years. And then certainly there's so many examples of it. Our son Hunter, one of his best little friends in Oklahoma, was he played flag football with and played basketball with, and was always at our house. He was diagnosed with cancer over the summer and spent the summer in Memphis getting treatment, and had a little 1 month break, and actually came here to Columbia, he and his dad, for the Vanderbilt game a couple of weeks ago, before he has to go back to Memphis and the Children's Hospital there for treatment for the next 4 months. So seeing that and seeing how vibrant Hunter's friend was, and now seeing him going through that certainly is an eye-opener and puts things in perspective. So honored to be a part of things once again this year for sure. Also want to send our condolences and prayers to the family of Shawn Clark, the former App State head coach that was at UCF, or is at UCF now, and passed away tragically yesterday. Didn't know him well, but knew him. The App State staff always came down and participated in our summer camps in the summertime, and can remember many conversations that I had with Coach Clark when he was here in Columbia for camp. And awesome husband, awesome father. Tragic, terrible situation. And Sean Elliott obviously is super close with him, going back to their App State ties. So just a really, really tough situation, and ask that you keep he and his family in your prayers. Going into a new week here for us, another SEC opportunity at home on Saturday night will be a big challenge. Have and always have had a lot of respect for Coach Stoops and what he's done at the University of Kentucky. Winning is hard, there's no question about it, and the level of success that he's had since he took over in Lexington is just so impressive. Model of consistency year in, year out. They're a team that they have their systems. It doesn't change, and you have to go beat them. They're extremely well coached. They got really good players. I know last season did not go the way they wanted record-wise, but you can see that they corrected whatever issues they had from last season. They've got a really impressive group right now, offense, defense, and special teams. Some players that are a year older in their program, impact transfers that they've brought in on all three phases. So we've got a big challenge. They had a week off, so they're rested and have had 2 weeks to get ready for us, and we've got to get a lot better ourselves without a doubt. And got off to a great start really Sunday when we came back, and love coaching this group. We know we have a lot of work to do. No, it's not good enough. No one's happy about being 2-2. There's no question about that, but I know not every person in here is a person of faith, but John chapter 16:33, there's going to be trials and tribulations, but be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. And the trials and tribulations that we're going through right now are nothing compared to what that verse is about, or what other people are going through, whether it be Shawn Clark's family or the Owen family, or anyone else that's dealing with trials and tribulations. But we're certainly, dealing with some trials right now, but we're full of good cheer. There's no question about it. And don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that we're happy about the way that we've performed the last 2 weeks. That doesn't mean that we're full of good cheer because we got outrushed 295 to minus something the other night at Missouri. But it does mean that I'm extremely blessed and grateful to get to do what I get to do with who I get to do it with, these players and coaches, each and every day. Saturday night was a long night, and it was a long return trip back. We sat on the runway in Columbia, Missouri for way too long waiting to take off, and I didn't walk into my house in Columbia until after 5 a.m. on Sunday morning, and slept for a couple hours and woke up and was right back in this building with excitement about getting back to work and excitement about seeing the players later that afternoon. And had a good day on Sunday, building on the positives from the other night, and there were, the way that we threw the ball, we've got to continue to build on that. The fact that we did not turn the ball over offensively, we got to continue to build on that. The fact that we got stops in the red zone on defense, there's some joy in that, and we're going to continue to build on that. The way that William Joyce came in and kicked pressure field goals, we're going to build on that. The missed opportunities that we had on special teams is disappointing, but we're going to build on how close we were. The fact that we played like garbage in so many ways, but we were leading going into the fourth quarter. And just imagine if we can get all this other stuff fixed, which everything is fixable, how good this football team can be. So that's what excites me, that we got to go back to work with a great group of people that worked their rear ends off. And this week has been no different. Love being around our players, love being around our coaches. Doesn't mean that we don't have hard conversations, because part of being a leader, which I am as the leader of this program, is having really, really, really hard and uncomfortable conversations with players and coaches, whether it be in a team setting or in individual meetings, and that happens all the time, and this week is no different. But we get to do what we love, and that's to go coach football and play football. We get to do it on Saturday night against a really quality opponent in the best environment in all of college football. And I get it. There's a lot of people outside this building that aren't happy with me and aren't happy with our 2-2 record, and I don't blame them. But you get to come back into Williams-Brice Stadium on Saturday night and be a part of the greatest environment in all of college football. So that's what our focus is on and looking forward to, and hard at work on that. Great start today. Injury-wise, we'll have a report for you tomorrow night. Nobody that we'd say right now is out. It was good to see Judge Collier back at practice today. Hopefully he'll continue to trend the right direction, and see where guys are tomorrow when we release that availability report. Questions?
Shane, when it comes to the running game, is it a case of there are tweaks and things that you can make to make it better in a week, or does it require a drastic shakeup? Has that already happened to try to get this fixed before Kentucky?
Yeah, I think it's always happening. And clearly when you perform like we did the other night, David, it's not as simple as just, we just need to do this a little bit better. There's some serious issues when you rush for negative yards and you haven't been able to run the ball consistently enough. So like I told our coaches, there's a 4-game body of work that says it's not good enough, and now we have to fix it. And how do you do that? You continue to build on some of the things that we are doing well. It's maybe tweaking personnel in some areas. It's tweaking schemes in some areas. But it's not a let's go in here and blow things up. But 1 or 2 games, you can say, okay, it's a work in progress. And it still is a work in progress. But 4 games, body of work is nowhere near good enough, and we have to be better. And that's certainly things you can do in 1 week, whether, like I said, personnel, scheme, tweaks, coach something a little bit better. You're looking at it all. And that's everywhere. That's offense, defense, and special teams.
Hey, Coach, 14 penalties was what stood out to me from the game this past weekend. What is being done in practice to kind of like limit that for the games as you prepare, both for veterans and for freshmen?
Yeah, it goes back to, you always look at it, and we talk about penalties after every game. We come in here on Sundays. We have a team meeting right there next door where we show the penalty on tape. We talk about why it happened. We talk about how it can't happen. We need to talk about how we coach it better, whether it be a pre-snap, during the play. But clearly that message isn't getting through the right way to this year's team. It's what we've done for the last few years since I've been here, but it's not resonating like it needs to. So you can't just continue to say, I'm going to go in there and show penalties on video. We did, but then there's some things in practice that we've tweaked and adjusted on how we handle it when it happens in practice. And we'll see if it's better on Saturday night. And if it is, I'll tell you after post game what it was. And if not, forget we ever did it, and we'll figure out something different next week.
Shane, you said everything is fixable, but what is one thing from for this Saturday that you want to see fixed more than anything that you feel like could make the biggest difference in winning and losing?
I mean, there's plenty, and again, we have what we have, Jack. We have our plan to win, like a lot of people have, and for us, that's run the ball, stop the run. That's win the turnover battle, win the explosive play battle, play smart football, which is penalties, and then dominating the fourth quarter. Dominate the fourth quarter, meaning you win the fourth quarter. Play smart football, meaning you have less penalties than the other team. Run the ball and stop the run. That's yards per carry. Win the explosive play battle. That's a run over 12 or a pass over 18. And then win the turnover battle. That speaks for itself. So every week, you can go back to game 1 against Eastern Illinois back in 2021. If we do that, if we just do, I think it's 6 things that I just named. If we do half of those, we typically win every single game. And we didn't do anything the other night other than win the turnover battle. And I told the team going into it, if we, the last 2 trips that we've gone to Missouri, we haven't won the plan to win enough of it. And we didn't the other night. So to me, go back and do that. And if we can be a little bit better and do more than just winning the turnover battle, then we're going to feel pretty good on Saturday night.
You mentioned some of those younger safeties or I guess backup safeties are challenging for more time. Are there any other spots on the team where some younger guys or guys who haven't played as much?
Yeah, I think you're constantly looking. It's again, we just had game 4, and we're a third of the way through the season, and there's a lot of football left. We're not even into October yet, and what I've told the coaches and what I've told the players is there's not a single position on our team where if a guy's not getting it done, that we're just going to keep them in there and just keep watching it not get done. And I'm not saying that's happening, but there's we do a lot of good on good in practice, and we're evaluating the players that when we're not doing good on good and we're doing more scout team stuff, it's competitive, and we're evaluating people all the time, whether it be offense, whether it be defense, whether it be special teams. So I think there's a lot of guys that continue to flash, whether it be from an offensive standpoint, defensive standpoint, special team standpoint. And I've told the coaches that, again, we're this is every year. It's not just because we're 2-2 right now, but we need to have our eyes wide open and see guys that continue to flash in practice, that if they can help us on the field, let's get them on the field. And I think you're seeing a little bit of that starting with, special teams. You saw it last week with Matthew Fuller. Nobody asked me about Matthew Fuller and why he was in the game carrying the ball. He's a guy that continues to impress. Nobody asked me about why Mike Tyler was a starter on the kickoff return team. Nobody cares about that. Nobody asked me why Donovan Darden was out there playing more on special teams. Those are all examples of guys that just continue to get better and flash, and we need to make sure more and more of that happens if guys earn those opportunities.
Coach, Vakari Swain and Peyton Williams were in here earlier talking about the tackling. They emphasized that you all worked on it today and they need to get to the ball and wrap up. Why isn't that happening? Is it a focus thing? Did they just not get enough reps before the season? What is it there?
No, I mean, I'd say we get more reps at tackling than most people do. I'd say we do more live tackling in practice than most teams do in the spring and the preseason, and most teams don't do a ton of live tackling in season, but we have in the past, and certainly want to be able to continue to also. I think it's just it's a little bit of everything. Don't think it's an effort issue at all. I don't think anybody could watch our game against Missouri the other night and question how hard our guys played. I mean, we were ready to play, and how much our guys wanted it. If I don't think anybody could question that, but I think there were too many examples the other night of guys just assuming that somebody was on the ground and didn't finish the play like they needed to play. It wasn't because of a lack of want to or a lack of effort. Just got to get off blocks, and you can't assume that somebody's got it. We got to do a better job of all 11 being around the ball, but it's something that we emphasize all the time. And we've been a good tackling team here in my time, I feel like, and we haven't done a good enough job of it the last couple of weeks. But, particularly last week against Missouri, I mean, let's give that guy a lot of credit too. I mean, not many, he's, one like he all of a sudden just showed up out of nowhere Saturday night against us. We knew what to expect going into it, and this freaking running back they got coming in from Kentucky here this weekend better wrap his butt up. I mean, he and I were together at Oklahoma. I know what he runs with violence, and we better get 11 hats to the ball on this guy, or it's going to be another long night.
Shane, when you have a week like this where it seems like you're spending a lot of time working and fixing things on your team, does that take away from the preparations for Kentucky and making sure that?
No, it's always about us, Rick. Yeah, always, whether we're in the middle of a 6-game winning streak last year or whether we're in the middle of a 3-game losing streak or 4-game losing streak or whatever it was the year before that. I mean, it really, in my mind, it always is about us, fixing our issues, making sure we're the best version of ourselves when we go into a game. Don't get me wrong, healthy respect for the opponent. We spend a lot of time talking about the opponent, but what we do in practice, it's always about, us, and that's what matters. And every opponent is just the next person on our schedule, but we are a team that has always gotten better as the year has gone, and that's not changing because we've got some issues that we got to fix. We've always got, things that we've got to correct from a game, win or lose, but it doesn't take away from the preparation for the opponent, whether it be Vanderbilt, Missouri, or Kentucky, or whoever's next.
On the teleconference on Sunday, you mentioned, how much Missouri was spending on their linebacker, and I'm curious at what point do you kind of evaluate your player personnel department and how you guys allocate money to build a football team?
Yeah, it's something you're evaluating every day. I'm the head coach, so I'm in charge of all that. It's not like somebody else is making a decision in regards to money and how it's being allocated, and they're just sending me an email letting me know what we're doing. Everything that happens in this building, I'm responsible for, and I hire good people and allow them to do their jobs. But there's not a major decision that's made in this program that I'm not responsible for, and I'm not trying to take anything away from any other program. I mean, that linebacker's a heck of a player. We tried to recruit him out of high school. His brother returned an interception for a touchdown against us at Clemson a few years ago. We tried to get him when he was in the portal. I mean, he's a heck of a player, but there were some other linebackers that we were recruiting, Shawn Murphy and J.O., and we knew we had Fred Johnson and Jaron Willis, and had signed a good linebacker class as well. So you're always looking at how you allocate the money available from a rev share standpoint, and again, I'm ultimately responsible for all those decisions.
Last year seemed to be really unique, and it was very easy to see who the leaders were, and from outside the program. It's harder to identify this year, at least for those outside of the program, I would think. Do you see the kind of player leadership within the team that can help you guys respond to the kind of adversity that y'all are having right now?
Yeah, I do, John. We got a lot of guys that care. It's a different style, if you will. I mean, that was a special group last year because you had some grown men last year. D Knight, Debo, Tonka, Boogie, Vershawn. I mean, there was a lot of guys like that. Kai Kroger had been around this program longer than I had been. Hunter Rogers. I mean, there was just a strong group. Josh Simon, on and on and on and on. I mean, I can't name them all. Torricelli, Kamar. I mean, you think about it, there were a lot of older guys, and we're really young right now. It just is. You look at the number of seniors that were starting and playing meaningful snaps for us last year compared to the number of seniors that are starting and playing meaningful snaps for us this year. There's a difference, and that's okay. I mean, that's college athletics, and that's coaching. And it was certainly, it's not like I'm oblivious to it. I knew as soon as the season ended that we were going to have to replace a lot of leadership from the 24 team to the 25 team, and we went to work at it hard in January, all through the off-season program, the summer, to develop that leadership and build those guys up. And it's a different style, but we've still got a really solid group of guys that are passionate and care that have been around here for a long time. Nick Barrett, DQ, Luke Doty. There's a lot of guys that are either they're very invested in this program because of how long they've been here, or transfers that have come in that are, really solid guys that are leaders on this team. Brady Hunt, young guys, Fred Johnson, on and on. So yes, to answer your question, it's still a work in progress, but those guys are very, very passionate about it, meet with a group of them regularly each week, and they want to get this thing right and know that being a leader means having uncomfortable conversations with people, and you've got to confront and you've got to demand, and seeing more and more signs of that.
Hey Shane, what's your approach to coaching someone as dynamic as Lenora Sellers after he has a game like he had, to still be himself and make, the Superman type plays, but also not take 20-yard sacks and take you guys out of the red zone? How do you approach that?
Yeah, it's like anybody. You coach it, you teach it. He did a lot of really good for us last week. The throws that he made and managing the offense, not turning the ball over. There's a lot of good to build on with Lenora. There's no question about that. We've got to be better around him, players and coaches, but you hold him accountable that this can't happen, and he knows that. And on that play, the sack we took on the 2-yard line, I think it came up on, Jack or somebody asked it on the teleconference the other night, that there were some issues around him on that play. But at the same time, ultimately, he's got to be smart and get rid of the ball, and he knows that. And so to answer your question, it's coach him hard just like anybody, but also there's a lot of really great things that he did that night that gave us a chance to win. And, if we complete that third down ball on the next to last drive to Dre and we catch that thing and go score, or we block the punt there at the end of the game where we ran into him, but we're about a half yard away from blocking it, we're, the mood in here and the questions about the game are completely different. But that's sports. It's a fine line, and right now we're on the other side way too often of the line, the side of the line that we need to be on. But Lenoris, I told the team this morning, when he's at his best, there's not another quarterback in the country I'd rather have, and that hasn't changed.
One thing that was really clicking in the passing game was the play action passing. And when it comes to trying to maybe formulate an identity early in the season and tapping into some of the things that you're good at to keep growing that offensive success, how much does something like that in a game like you had on Saturday kind of go into building that offensive identity?
Yeah. See that class? I like Elijah. He asks positive questions and wants to build upon the good from the other night. Take note, Professor. What was the question again? Downfield passing game? Play action. Yes. It was good. We had we knew we wanted to throw the ball downfield. That was our plan going into it. I'm probably going to feel this way every week, that with our receivers and our tight ends, we need to take shots downfield because we got guys that can make plays in the passing game, and we got a quarterback that can get the ball down there. So we wanted to throw the ball downfield. The one to Dre that got us down there to the 2-yard line, that was a 3rd and 2 play, if I'm not mistaken, where I'm getting ready to go for it on 4th down. So Mike knew we had 2 downs, so we maxed it up and ran a 2-man just shot play and hit Dre on the ball down to the 2-yard line. So we've got to be able to do that. Now, if we can get this running game going, then really watch out, because now we've got a run game that people have to be respectful of, and the ability to throw the ball over your heads. That's where we need to get to. But certainly when you have a quarterback like Lenore, so we've got good offensive linemen, we got a good running backs, we got a quarterback that can run. There's a running threat. We're just not executing well enough right now, obviously. But I do believe we're close, and as we continue to, it's the old adage now, everybody, you always hear, like, you run the ball to, set up the pass. Maybe we're throwing the ball to set up the run. Who knows? But we, and again, I'd love to line up every night and run the ball for 300 yards. That would be awesome. But it's hard to run the ball in this league. And you say, well, hold on, Shane. Missouri just ran for 300. And you're right. But it's hard to run. But we can't be stubborn and bang our head against the wall. We want to run the ball efficiently, but we certainly don't want to prove a point about how we can run the ball all of a sudden, be 3 yards on a cloud of dust, and not take advantage of these receivers and tight ends that we have on this team also that can do a lot of things in the passing game also.
You spoke earlier about having hard conversations and how that's just part of the job. What have the conversations been like the past week and a half, and how do you approach those as the leader of the team?
You ultimately have a responsibility to this program and the players, the coaches, the university, my bosses, the community, the people that follow Gamecock football to get this thing right. And we all know what we signed up for as coaches and players. You want to be somewhere where there's high expectations, and and you know have great relationships. Like I love and care about every single person in this building on a personal level, and want to see everyone be successful. But there's also a responsibility when things aren't getting done, and when something's not good enough, you have those conversations. But everybody gets that. We know what we signed up for, but also understanding that, you know, conveying to our people that our staff, players, like we got what we need. We're just not doing it. We're not doing it well enough right now as a whole. We haven't gotten the best out of this team. We're continuing to get better. We're still a work in progress, but in my opinion, we haven't gotten the best out of this team in the first 4 games, and that's really disappointing. And ultimately, my responsibility. So you got to do whatever it takes to get that right and not have that feeling.
Sort of going off of that, but also John's question, do you sort of find yourself having to meet some of those leaders kind of halfway based on their leadership style? Like I remember last year you kind of told me like Rocket didn't really talk, but obviously by nature of his position, he was a leader. And I guess, do you ever find yourself wishing, oh, in that moment, I wish X player said something, kind of those conversations?
Sure. You know, I think we know who the leaders are on this team. Like Lenoris Sellers was voted a permanent captain by his teammates last year. Lenoris hardly ever, you know, says a word. We just came from a leadership meeting where we were talking about a lot of things, and I said, anything on your mind that you want to talk about, Lenoris? And he just wanted to talk about what helmets we were wearing Saturday night, you know, so, which I love. It's an important topic of discussion. There's no question about it, but he's got his own leadership style, but guys respect him. I was with Jalen Hurts at Oklahoma. Jalen hardly ever said a word, but because of how he worked, people followed him. I was with Kyler Murray at Oklahoma. Same type thing. Kyler's personality was different than Jalen's, but he was a leader and players respected him. So you don't have to be the guy that's always just rah, rah, rah all the time. But Brandon Cisse for us, to me, he's one of those new transfers that's a leader on this team. He don't say a whole lot, but just watch the guy. Like the way he handles his business, he's a pro's pro. So there's examples of that. I used an example this morning with the team in the team meeting about Trovon and a conversation he and I had yesterday that conveyed leadership to me and gave that as an example to our players. To answer your question, though, Lulu, yes, there are times where knowing the impact that certain guys have on our team, you maybe pat them on the butt to, hey, go celebrate a little bit more here, or go, they need to feel your energy in this moment. But at the same time, I don't want guys to be somebody that they're not either. So it's got to be genuine, but really I think it's just conveying to them the impact that this team, that they can have on this team, and realizing, you know, that their words matter, whether it be Lenoris or Brandon or Tro or anybody on this team.
Hey, Coach. Josh Cohen with Sports Talk. Looking ahead to the Kentucky game, what's been the focus for Lenoris?
Just continuing to get better. Did a lot of really good things in Missouri on Saturday night, and certainly, like all of us, some plays he'd like to have back. But we've got to, like I said, continue to be better around him, and he's got to continue to protect the ball. He's doing a great job of that. We ran him some the other night and need to be able to continue to do that. But I think the biggest thing is just continuing to lead the offense and keep getting us better, and everyone around him, coaches and players, doing our part to help him also.
Shane, kind of going back to the good with the offense, what are the big takeaways you have about the offensive play calling on Saturday? And then what would you kind of say to the fans that feel like the offensive play calling is one of the bigger issues for this team right now?
I thought it was, look, when you don't win the game, the play calling's not good enough and the coaching's not good enough, because ultimately that's what we're judged on. When you look around the country, when you lose a football game, the guy that gets the blame is the head coach, the offensive coordinator, and then the quarterback usually. I mean, that's just the way it is. NFL, college, high school, that's just what you sign up for. The plan that we're putting together, I'm in all the offensive and defensive meetings during the week, special teams meetings. I know what the game plan is. I know why plays are in the game plan. I know why we're calling it. Just like there's decisions every game that I look back and wish that maybe I had done differently, or plays that players would like to have back. There's plays that I'm sure Mike would like to have back. I don't know which play calls you're referring to, or which one fans are?
Just in general with the offense, how you felt about how Saturday went from a play calling standpoint.
I thought it was fine. I mean, I'm sure there's plays that Mike would like to have back. I mean, yeah, when you're on the 2-yard line and we take a 20-yard sack, hindsight 2020 says, you should have run the ball there. But I'm on the headphones, and if I didn't like the opportunity, we're going to run the ball, or we're going to have 4 plays to score right there, and we just hit a big play down there to the 2-yard line. You got to play action, and then we can come back and run it 3 times if we want to. So every play call that's made, I hear it. If I have an issue with something, I will certainly address it. But ultimately, when you don't win the game, it's not good enough. Anything, offense, defense, and special teams.
I think it's sometimes hard to watch Lenoir's and kind of not compare it to that day against Clemson. And you look at only scrambling 2 times. How much of that is what defenses are doing, and how much of that is just him wanting to try and make a play with his arm?
Probably a little bit of both. I mean, you want to coach him up on the different looks that you're going to get, and where to go with the ball. But teams aren't dumb too either, Jordan. I mean, they're going to watch tape, and if you watch Missouri, there's a lot of times that they were dropping 8 people into coverage, and they had 2 people whose only job was to keep their eye on Lenora Sellers. So they're rushing 3 guys. They have 2 guys that are spying, if you will, and then with 6 guys that are in coverage. It's tough. And now as coaches, we've got to have schemes for him to be able to do that. The 3rd and 16 against Clemson, yeah, they had a spy on him, and we know what happened. So I'm not sitting there to say, oh my God, they got a spy on Lenoir's, don't run. We're not saying that, but there's a time and place, and we've got to be able, like I said, to throw the ball downfield. We've got to be able to check the ball down to the running back if they are gonna, like I said, teams aren't dumb. They're going to keep an eye on Lenoir. They want to keep him in the pocket. They're going to play soft coverage, typically on Nick Harbor, because they don't want to get run past. And we showed the ability to run past DBs the other night with some other receivers. So teams are going to try and keep everything in front of them, keep a spy on Lenoir. And until we show that we can run the ball, that's probably what we're going to continue to see defensively. So we've got to have plans to combat that. We've got to be able to run the ball better. But again, I've never told Lenoir, hey man, make sure we run more tonight or run less tonight. It's what the defense is giving you and what the game plan is each week. And again, Kentucky does a really good job. Coach Stoops is a defensive coach. Brad, their defensive coordinator, is phenomenal and does a really good job and makes it really, really hard on teams. That game last year was 10-6 midway through the 3rd quarter. People forget that. I mean, that's always a slugfest. And going back, looking at this game from 26, take COVID out of it, but from 2016 on, the winning team has never scored more than 24 offensive points. We scored 31 last year, but the offense scored 24 because Nick had the interceptions. So 2016, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, no one has scored more than 24 points in this game. So, I hope we score more than 24 on Saturday night. That would be awesome, but it's going to be a slugfest, and we've got to be really, really physical and ready to go compete against a really good Kentucky team Saturday night.
Shane, the SEC, I'm over here, officially announces the 3 annual conference rival opponents.
Did they officially, or is it the Chris Lowe report?
Well, it's officially out tonight. It's already out, but officially
Chris
tonight.
Lowe put it out. Did the SEC put it out? I don't want to get in trouble.
Right. Did you or the program have any strong opinions on what that should be? Was there input with the SEC? How did all that work from your guys' perspective?
I didn't. I know, so it's out. All right. Commissioner Sankey, Steve told me I can comment on it. If I get fined, fine him. No, we did not. But what is it? Kentucky, Florida, Georgia, is that right? Allegedly. About 3 years ago, when there was the talk of potentially having 3 permanent opponents that you were going to play each year, they told us who that would be. That was 2 or 3 years ago, and 2 or 3 years ago it was Florida, Kentucky, and Georgia. So that aspect of it didn't change. I didn't have a conversation about it when we had league meetings in Destin back in May. We didn't discuss that. When we had head coach meetings with the ADs in New Orleans back in February, we didn't discuss who they were. Jeremiah and our administration maybe did. I know they had an athletic directors meeting 1 or 2 weeks ago in person. That was maybe something they discussed, but nobody asked me for my opinion. They didn't ask me my opinion on 8 games or 9 games either. So I just coach the team or try to, and whoever they tell us to, whenever they tell us to play them, we'll be there. All right. Thank you all for coming out.